guys, what's up? Is a culture detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to talk about the. I'm going to take a slight bit of my time out to talk about the latest Black Dresses album, Peaceful as Hell. Black Dresses is a duo from Canada. Not an old timer in the music industry, but had been starting to drop some pretty interesting music since the late 2010s, circa 2018. And their music is considered to be industrial electro noise pop, a bit of all those mixed together. And this album, while it's just their sophomore studio album, it's very ambitious, not gonna lie. It's a pretty lengthy album, has a number of tracks on it, has layers upon layers of production. And so much so, it's actually really noisy and grainy. And of course, given that it is industrial noise pop, the guitars, the synths, the everything on this album are super duper distorted and raw and rough around the edges. But underneath, we get a lot of catchy and fun, cutesy, sweet hooks. And also, the duo enters this album with a punk attitude, with a lot of energy, with a lot of youthful energy, and they actually sound really positive on this album, given that a lot of the topics explored on this album revolve around friendliness, friendship, being kind, being nice. And I hear a lot of influences on this album as well, all the way from Shoo Shoo and Crystal Castles to, of course, Nine Inch Nails. And a crop of the tracks on this album also have this pretty obvious early 2000s pop punk influence, which is pretty nice. The album starts off with Left Arm of Life, which I think is a pretty great opener for the album, a pretty great tone setter. It sounds pretty post apocalyptic with a really simple, slow drum beat and some auto tune vocals, some buzzing, swirling synths in the back, sort of creating an atmosphere. And while it's not the most explosive or spectacular start to an album ever, I still appreciate how humble it is for an opener and how well it sets the tone for the album. The second track, Damage Suppressor, is an instant hit for me. It is an incredibly straightforward, noisy pop punk song. The hook is really, really catchy. I die for real. And also the video game references are pretty smart. I also enjoy the bleeping electronics and the banging pianos on this thing. Yes, banging pianos. And by banging pianos, I mean not only the piano keys being played, but they're literally smacking the wooden casing of the piano. And then we have the track Angel Hair, which is this chopped up, glitchy kinda hip hop track with a cyberpunk edge to it. I'm not a huge fan of the song, though I kinda like the hook. I think it's pretty catchy. The performance, while it's sassy, it's also kind of fragile, and I wish there's a bit more oomph to the performance, but still, I think it's a pretty decent track. The next track, Beautiful Friendship, has this really sharp, raw, rough tone to the track. It just rips you apart in the beginning, but then we get the really cutesy blinking descending keyboards and the uh, and the beautiful friendship chants in the chorus, and then you get the really harsh and angry noisy screams, and all of them together makes up for a pretty interesting sounding track. And then we have the track I'm a Freak because I'm always freaked out. Probably my favorite track on the entire album. It's a weird ass song, and I love it. It starts off as something quirky and fun, a bit of a chunky alt rock song, and then it suddenly melts into this swirly, chaotic, squeaky, distorted synth passages, and it's just whoa, it's just melting in your ears. It's so weird and swirly. It's kind of orgasmic actually. And then you get the vocals on top. I just wanna be nice. I just wanna be nice. The ending is really dissonant and it's a really creative track overall. One of my favorite songs on the album, if not my absolute favorite. Of course, afterwards we have Bliss and Stupidity, which is a bit of a low point for the album. A low point for the album for me. The structure is sort of strange and incoherent. As far as dynamic and progression goes, it's not really there. It's just a pretty off the hook pop punk song with not much to offer, especially towards the second half of the track where it sort of drags around for a little bit. But the pacing picks itself up really quickly with the track Mirror Girl, which has a very obviously inspired by Nine Inch Nails opening, very glitchy, and in the hook, I like the hook a lot. I think it's really catchy, and I also really like the noisy, harsh screams. I just think the hook and the very noisy, dusty beats on the track doesn't really coexist all that much together. I hope they sort of go together a little more, but still not a bad track at all. And for the next track, Maybe This World is Another Planet's Hell, is an atmospheric, quiet ballad with, again, a bit of a cyberpunk edge to it. The tone of the track is kind of tame, it's a little quiet, it's not as exciting as I would have liked it to be. But immediately after we have Scared to Death, another highlight on the album that I really enjoyed. It has these whispery vocals for the verses, but in the choruses, wow. Very raw, harsh guitars with a tinge of futuristic, post-apocalyptic, video game-esque sound on the chord progression. And while the guitars are really repetitive, they are raw and they are noisy in a way it actually fires you up, and it's actually really impressive. The same goes for the next track, Express Yourself, which has this really quick, nimble beat and synth verses, but when we hit the chorus, it's just this really fiery and just distorted, raw, rough bass line. It's really dirty and nasty and muddy, and it completely overshadowed the quiet, whispery ASMR vocals of the track. The track Sharp Halo has these falling dissonant pianos, which sounds really interesting and atmospheric. And this track, I guess, serves as a bit of a scary, spooky moment on the album. I do wish that there is more of a colorful boost to the track, but it's still a pretty good song overall. And we also have the track Impossible Dream, which is it's meh. It's a bit of a raw pop punk track. The vocals are a little monotone. I wish there was a bit more change up to the vocals, even though it still sounds pretty good. And the track Please Be Nice is another track that I kind of enjoy because of how tongue-in-cheek the verses and the choruses are. Don't be weird, don't be mean, you're on my computer screen. And when this chorus, when this really harmless and cutesy chorus is performed, it's performed over these really distorted and nasty instrumentals, and it's kind of hilarious actually. And we also have the track Creep You, which has a really obvious early 2000s pop punk vibe to it with its really steady, slow 4/4 kick drums. And this track is about, I guess, gender-based anxiety, and it sort of explores that theme in a really friendly and nice and gentle way. And the album sort of ends off with 666, which is a pretty low-key ending for the album, but I guess it sort of serves as an epilogue. It's an unfinished track, and it sort of serves as a sweet moment between the duo where they're like, okay, the track is not finished, maybe we'll work on it later. But still, I think overall, a majority of the tracks on the album are really enjoyable. There are a couple of flaws here and there that I wish could have been fixed, but still, I enjoy most of the tracks on the album. I think the album has a unique style and tone, and I kind of enjoyed that. My favorite track on the album is I'm a Freak because I'm always freaked out, and my least favorite track is Bliss and Stupidity. I am giving Black Dresses, Peaceful as Hell, a decent to a strong 8 out of 10. Also, I need to make a little short announcement that I am going to boost HMLTD's West of Eden from a strong 8 to a light 9 because, oh my goodness, the album is so good. But this album is also really good. Probably my second favorite album of the year so far. But HMLTD still holds the crown as my favorite of the year so far. So, have you listened to Black Dresses, Peaceful as Hell from 1 to 10? How much did you rate it? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. I will be reviewing Car Seat Headrest, The Strokes, a couple of classic album reviews. Then I'll move over to Rina Sawayama, Laura Marling, Ed O'Brien, Oransi Pazuzu, as well as Quelle, Chris and Chris Keys, Nav, Drake, Danzig, as well as Lido Pimienta, Charlie XCX. She just dropped this album like a couple hours ago or something. So don't have some patience. Don't be impatient. Have some patience, yeah?